Hi everyone, Mitch Simmer here. So, you can see 24 is now orange. So, we've been assigned the field earlier today, and I can now go get a few things done with it. But the first thing that needs to happen with any field to work well with precision farming is we need to soil sample. So I am going to do that work. Fortunately, wasn't able to get to this in daylight, but I think, again, the field has been, you've kind of seen it around, and it's not like it gets super dark here in Farming Simulator anyway, so I think it'll be okay, but definitely, we'll also, I'm sure, have all kinds of time in the future to also do things during the day. So for those who are joining for the first time or first time in a while, we're here on Hobo's Hollow. We're not terribly new. We've been on the map for several years, but really the last year and a half has been where things have really started going. I'm getting a lot of lag here. This is crazy. Usually it's for a little while, but it's like every time I move, it's doing that. But when I initially got on the map, because of what I'm waiting to unlock as far as fields coming up for auction and so forth, I bought 25 as my initial field. Was able to get a second plot of land as the mayor, otherwise known as the sponsor of the server. So I got just a little tiny piece that allowed me to put my cow barn down. But of course, then I had to wait for other things. I've still got two tiny pieces of land that I'm hoping to get that I will use for my yard space. So we'll see when those finally come up. I'm hoping they will at some point. But Field 24 here has been really kind of the holy grail that I've been waiting for quite some time, because if you've used cows before in FS22, they need straw as part of their TMR mix, and therefore I need enough crops. So I had Field 26 that I had gone ahead and acquired when it came up, just to bide me over a little bit and get things going, but it's far too small. I didn't have enough straw to even get through a year. And so right now I do have some wheat growing over there. At this point, it's going to be a little bit more of a fact-finding mission in determining if wheat drops more straw than oats does. Because basically I was able to fill the barn with about 147,000, far too far. 147,000 liters of straw, and then I get 15 or 20,000 additional liters that I was able to put in the hayloft to use once there was some space. But like I said, that didn't get me incredibly far. So at this point, certainly, this field much bigger. The other ones, I think, barely 6 acres, if it's even that much. Where this is, I think, 30 or something. Yeah, 38.28. So, we've got a good amount of land area. So the challenge is going to be as far as environmental score and so forth. It's not going to be that great here, because what I found is for things like fertilizer and so forth, you don't get full credit too easily. Even though you're doing the entire field, it kind of seems to look at the whole land area, which frankly doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's how it operates. So yeah, we kind of go from there. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it all, but I think I did. Yeah, it looks like I did. There's nothing hanging out. I'm just trying to be super conservative and not go too long or too far apart, because I'd rather do some more samples than have gaps and so forth, because obviously this is a crucial part of our farm. So the challenge I'm going to have, and basically what I'm able to do, is I'm going to sample the field, and then I will be able to go ahead and kind of get the pH set on it. But after that, because I'm going to be gone for over a week at some point soon, starting in a few days, the next year, really, the spring into almost winter time, I'll be unavailable to do anything here, and so therefore I'm not going to go ahead and plant, because that would just be a waste, because the crops would wither and die in the interim. So there's just so much I can do, and there may be a little bit of a break then, because I honestly haven't seen how far I'm out. I know I'm a little bit ahead, but because there's going to be very little I can do in the interim, there's probably going to be some more things, because obviously I'm going to harvest in October, but we'll see how everything lays out here. But it's going to be a little while before this field's actually in use fully. But I'm super excited to have it, because this was really the missing piece of productivity on the farm. And as I said, while it's not terribly exciting to just be leaving my equipment along the edge of the field, it's okay. I'm not near a road or anything, so I'm not creating any kind of problem. I'm not sure if I can get... Yeah, it looks like I can. I was worried I couldn't get everything over to the corner, but I think I can. So yeah, certainly I guess I would hope it would be really nice if the other pieces I need would come up for auction, which are kind of on the other side of the trees there a little bit. They're basically by that road near field 25, just completely adjacent to it. And so as we come back here, I would grab those, and then that will be where I'd put my silo and any buildings to store equipment and so forth. So in Shellbrook, where we came from, I had kind of just the metal roof where most of my equipment lived, and then there were a couple little tiny sheds. So we'll see what it looks like we'll do. The nice thing here is, and one of the reasons I picked this area, is in Shellbrook I kind of had to hack the yard out of the woods with what I had, and I enjoyed it. It was a nice little wooded lot and so forth, but I'm not a big fan of logging, so I'd prefer not to have to clear space again, and this gave me that option. So that is partially why I'm set up here, plus the fields near the edge have a little bit of terrain to them. They're not as flat as those in the middle of the hollow. Alright, I think I can do a little better if I go up here, so we'll do that. But let me finish getting this field sampled, and we'll get things sent off to the lab, and then we'll work on the lime. But that kind of gets you up to speed of what is happening and why it's happening. And my goal is to get the sample done and the lime done today. So that is what will be the content of this episode. So I'll see you in a bit. Soil sampling is done. I've now got my spreader picked up here. I need to go get it filled with some lime. So this is one of the things that without having a yard, I can't as easily have things ready. Now, I wasn't storing lime in Shellbrook for a while. I was, but then I got rid of the silo because the one that would store a good quantity of it required a crazy little auger that we had to load it with, and it was just so challenging to go ahead and work with that. So unless something new has come up, which I think there may be a product station or something that I think I can load, but I don't recall. But I think some of the folks have got that I've seen on the server here. So I'll have to take a look when I have places to put it. Right now, I'm not sure that I want to. I mean, I could try to squeeze it in there in between the land of 24 and 25, but I don't know that I really want to do that. So here's the FSN custom space. This is where we can get our dry and liquid goods. We're still waiting for the lab results. There were 69 soil samples made, so it wasn't a small amount. Alright, so we will get lime, and that should work fine. You know, at some point I'm sure we're also going to obviously get the lab fees coming across for that, but those will pop up when that happens. I also had gone ahead and paid for the spring and summer silage deliveries that I have an agreement with another farmer for. So there we go, $4,050 to fill up the 18,950 that we have in lime. I'm thinking I'm going to have to come back here at least once more. I don't really know what it is. There we go, 10,350 to sample that field and get the 69 samples analyzed, which is significantly less expensive than the, I guess you'd say automated, but it's really outsourcing, because it's not that it takes our equipment and automates it, it just hires a company to do it. So you're paying them the fee, you're paying for the sampling. It gets to be a lot more to sample fields that way. And given that we have to do it regularly, that's why I own the Asaria Scout, to do the work myself and then go ahead and obviously send it off to the lab and get the results. That I can't do on my own. So we'll see how this goes. It's not that I have to get the lime done today. It is getting a little bit late. So I just wanted to get this done if I could. The lime should go substantially faster, though, I would think, than the soil sampling, because it's just a little bit cleaner, obviously, and quicker. Because you can see I've got this width, and I just kind of run up and down the field. I will run across the bottom of the field here first, so that I have room. I think at the top I have room to turn around, so this is kind of what I was talking about, where I really did like what I saw on the field. Because, whoops, well, that won't work. I'm too far away. Obviously, I was thinking I'd have a wider spreading width, and I was wrong. So, we'll get down here. And this is probably about what we can do. But yeah, down at this end, we don't quite have as much room to turn around. What we do once we get past this little group of trees to some degree, but there's a lot more room up at the north end. So we're spreading, what, 0.75, 0.625 I saw. Probably could go a little bit further away, but once again, I hate to then suddenly not be getting to the edge of the field. So it's a little bit better to throw some into the grass, because it'll also help with the... see, I think I'm missing the bottom there, and I did. You can see the yellow on the mini-map. So that's exactly the problem. So we'll turn around here, and we'll get this run, and we'll do a second level here, a second pass, and that will then should give me plenty of room to maneuver. So we'll get that end when we're coming up and down, because I think I have enough space. But for the areas I don't, I want to make sure that I've given myself enough of a buffer. So coming up on 15,000 from the 18,950 that was full. So with precision farming, the pH, which adjusts, which is done by lime, really is dependent on the soil type than it is what is planted within it. So that's why we can do this before we plant and not forego something that we'd like to get, a benefit that we'd like to get otherwise. So a lot of this field is loam, so this is a really good field as well for growing things, so I'm pretty excited to see how it's going to operate. I think it's going to be quite good. So almost in the right place here, but we'll move it over. And now we're going to run the field the normal way. And again, I didn't pay attention when I went over how many passes it's going to be. It'll certainly be probably going to be between 10 and 20. So yeah, now we're on sandy loam here, really adding very little. So that will help, because if a lot of this field is like this, then that's going to help extend the amount of field I can lime with the load I have. So I'm assuming that kind of darker, well, it's really light green as opposed to light yellow, I suppose, is what the soil division is. But you can see up here, like I said, we've got a lot of room to maneuver, which is great. So when I'm harvesting, when I'm doing other things, so that was one of the things I had looked at, but you can see it's kind of a roll over the hill, because at one point I was thinking, well, maybe I could put stuff up here, but it's really not the best for the contours of the terrain, and also for the fact that obviously it just means I'm hauling and storing things far away, and then I have to go south to go sell it, either taking it to customs or something else. So just as patience was needed for this field, I'm going to need patience for those other two pieces coming up, and the challenge is really going to be if they're not coming up together, like really trying to think of how I'd like the yard designed. I mean, I haven't even really tried to do a lot in there, kind of mocking up or placing things or testing to place things, because until I own the land, it's going to be harder to tell when I'm really coming up on the border of something. It's going to be easier when I'm moving items around and it's not your land. So the hope is, once again, so right in front of me and then over in the direction I'm turning past the trees, there's 2 parcels there that I'd like to get. And I think they're 65 and 66 or something. As we go up here, we'll take a look. So 67 and 68. So those are the ones I want. So there's a little bit of trees that I won't be able to use, but it's just the other side of the road. And then I can place things appropriately and get myself as much yard space as I can there. Like if I suddenly really can't fit everything there, you know, then we'll start using the space here around the fields. But what I'd prefer to not do is what I did over there, which was place a silo in the hayloft kind of along the edge of the field. It works fine because it's somewhat self-contained to stuff that's over there. Like there's nothing, well, it's not entirely true as I think about it, because the straw from this field is going to go over to that hayloft. But what I was starting to say is there's nothing from this field that will go over there, but that's not accurate, because that will be our straw storage. Right, so I'm just taking a quick look here, and you know, the tillage will change once we direct seed, but you can see like the soil sampling, we don't have the full score because there's a lot of field that isn't done. And again, once I spray the weeds, now I'm working on the pH value, and then the nitrogen will be done with fertilizer. And those scores don't typically change until you do a harvest. So I'm getting that off of, you know, this field over here that you can see is a 99. So this one's not that great because like I haven't limed the field at all in forever, so I have no score. We run into some of those challenges there. But maybe once we get things going, we'll revisit some of that, but I'm also not that concerned about getting a massively high environmental score bonus. So we'll see, because playing with the grass field and all that gets pretty expensive. And if nothing else, it's a pretty good time commitment. So yeah, I'm still unclear if I'm going to be able to make this field with 2 loads. I'm a little bit hopeful because I'm coming up on 50% here, but I'm also a little worried because it's not like I've done a headland on top, and then in addition I believe the field gets a little longer the more to the west that I go. So as I keep working these, that is what will happen. So I'm going to go ahead, get this work done, and I will come back at the end to kind of do the wrap up, explain what it took and where things stay or where things sit. So I'll see you in a bit. Finishing up the last little bit here. I'm hoping I'm going to have enough. I did go back and get 2,500 liters. I'm worried now as I see this, however. Maybe it won't be enough, but we'll see what it is. If I've got to go grab some more, I guess I'll have to go grab some more. But I'm getting close, so maybe there's some hope here that we'll make it all the way. But the most interesting thing is, yeah, I didn't change my line or anything here. Like, I lined up on the other side and the width is pretty much perfect for the field here. So yeah, we will make it. Thank goodness. I was going to do 2,000, which would have worked, but so that's some of the challenge of not being able to have anywhere to store it. But I did find, while I've been going around and filling things up and so forth, there is a what they call the Meridian Storage Yard. So I think that's the mod itself, is the Meridian Storage Yard mod. And basically it's a line of silos that you can buy that let you you know, store stuff, you know, pretty much everything you need: seeds, liquid, solid fert, you know. So there's some things I don't need, but there are some things that I could, you know, most things I could use, and so that's probably the most compact and efficient way to do it. I'm just going to need to do a little looking at it to really understand the capacity, but I did need 2 full loads plus a 2,500 lime, of which, as you can see, I've got a little over 1,200 here left. Yeah, it was up here that I came from, so I'm kind of trying to park it in the same place. So yeah, as I was driving through that space that in theory would be the yard, I was kind of thinking through possible things I could do to as far as how it would be set up and so forth. So just daydreaming away, hoping that it will work. Alright, got the lights off, but at this point field 24 is as ready as it's going to be able to be until I get to use it. But basically I need to go through all of next year, and then it'll be the following spring. So we'll be talking about year 113 is when we're going to use field 24, but we're sitting here in year 111. Because while I will be here at the time when I could plant this fall, it would die and wither the following fall, because then I won't be here. So not going to be able to go forward with that anymore. But at this point, my next activity would be the harvest on field 26, which will, I think, be in a couple months. So a couple days from now, so not too bad. And then we'll get ourselves some straw over to the cow barn. We'll get the cows producing a little bit more. I may then sell some items sometime before I head out. So there's still the possibility that I'll have an episode or two. Certainly we'll have one at least, but we'll see what I decide to get into. But other than that, then I'll be stepping away for a little bit. So hope you've enjoyed this little peek at finally getting this field ready now that we own it. Just unfortunately, you know, as luck would have it, can't quite use it. And then again, we need those 2 spots there to come due, and maybe that'll happen in the next couple days too, but that would obviously just be a mention. But the hope is if I can get some straw into the cow barn and get things moving, especially if the wheat gives me extra, you know, maybe we'll have enough to keep at least the cow barn running while I'm gone, but it will be running for at least a while. So we will do what we can on the farm. But if you've liked what you've seen and you haven't already clicked the like button on this video, would appreciate if you would do that. That helps with the YouTube algorithm to get things spread. And if you are not a subscriber, I'd love to have you join us and continue to get notified as material comes out on the channel. And I will see you next time.